All right. Good afternoon. We are live. It is 12 p.m. Pacific time. I am Jessica Martini. This is Lunchtime Live. I have been doing a few of these live streams, and usually it's just me by myself in a room talking to my computer. But this time I'm in a room by myself talking to a computer, and I have a guest. So I'm so excited. I've got Mandi Graziano with me today, and I'm going to give a little bit of an intro about her. She recently released a book October 21st of last year called Sales Tales: The Hustle, Humor, and Lessons from a Life in Sales. But she's also a coach. She's a speaker. She is with HPN. She does so many amazing things. And what I love most, what I love is that when I talked about doing some of these live streams, first thing she said was, how can I help? I want to help. And I love that. And so that's why I thought, okay, let's get her on. Let's talk to her about some of the things that she's been doing and some of her amazing successes, including being a top 10 performer with HPN last year. So with that said, Mandi, I wanted to welcome you and give you an opportunity to, share anything else that you'd like to share with our audience today.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is my first LinkedIn Live, and you inspired me because I did not realize it. I looked on my account this morning, and I too have access to LinkedIn Live.
All
I
right.
will be on LinkedIn Live at some point. We'll see how it goes, but you're paving the way.
All right. Awesome. Well, I wanted to start by talking about your book because there was an excerpt that I read in there that first of all, I laughed when I read it, but I think it's so important for salespeople. You talk about one of the rules of networking, and it says, "Don't talk to me about the weather. If you talk to me about the weather, I'm done. I'm over it." So, what are some tips you have for people when they are trying to meet and network in sales?
It's so funny. I cringe when people talk about the weather. And I think I have them somewhere here. I won't dig out of the boxes, but I made quotes from the book, and I made these postcards that you can send to people. And one of them does say, never ever talk about the weather unless you are a farmer. Or a hurricane or something, but specifically unless you're a farmer, because it's so boring. And I feel like that's so lazy. And there's so many other interesting topics in the world right now. I will say, I might add, do not talk about COVID. I might just do a ban talking about COVID or Omicron, because there are so many other things to talk about. And I think networking wise right now, I think asking open-ended questions, looking into people's eyes, remembering their names, really truly being interested in that moment. I think when we go to these networking events and we're back into re-entry into the world, we've just forgot how to behave with each other and everything's super awkward. But I think just being in that moment with that person or those people and forgetting that there's all these other people around you, just connecting in that moment and just making a real true connection in that moment, I find.
And I think there's also value in doing your homework beforehand. If you're going to an event, there are so few opportunities to meet face to face. Do your homework ahead of time. Looked at on their LinkedIn profile, see what they're up to, see if they're passionate about certain, nonprofits and things like that. To make sure that you are knowledgeable beforehand, because otherwise you're wasting that valuable 60 or 90 minutes when you actually have a human being in front of you.
I totally agree, and I think I touched on this in the book when I did that. The hotel torch, when I ran through the city with the Olympic torch on accident in San Francisco, is, had I done a little homework before I got to the city, I would have known that the Olympic torch was running through the city that day instead of being enveloped in the Olympic torch. But it did end up being a good topic to talk about with clients at the event that night. But that is something, ever since that happened, I always go into the city that I'm going into. I go and read 2 or 3 local newspapers so I know what are the top 2 or 3 headlines in that city. What are the top 2 or 3 things going on with the sports team in that city? So you have a little nugget of something to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that's great. Yeah. And I also want to talk to you a little bit about your hustle, because a lot of the work that you do, most of the work that you've got to really put yourself out there. So how are you making the most of your sort of business development efforts and in all of the different things that you do?
Yeah, I think hustle is a really important word. I hate the word side hustle. I'm going to ban that too. I'm going to ban Omicron, ban side hustle, because I think, nobody asks Ryan Reynolds about his side hustle with his football team, right? It's just he's an actor, he owns a football team, and he's got a production company.
Mhm.
And I think, all of us, I work for HPN Global, I book meetings, I am a coach, I speak at meetings, and I wrote a book, right? So it doesn't have to be one as a side hustle and one as a main thing. All of these things are
Mhm.
hustle. And I think finding time to commit to each thing is really important. I think putting things in buckets throughout your day and managing time is really, really important. And every day before I end the day, I look at the next day and I put all the things that I have to do, but I ask myself, what are the top 5 things? If I accomplished only 5 things tomorrow, what are those 5 things? And I make a priority to get those things done. A lot of what I do is revenue driven, revenue activities versus non revenue activities. So I spend a lot of time ranking, prioritizing, and putting things in buckets to be able to manage the hustle.
Okay, okay. I have done some trainings before on time management and how to be effective with your time. And when I've done that, I show people what my calendar looks like and they make fun of me. But everything for me is on here. It's color coded. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done. But it's also dividing it into different areas. How is this impacting my business? What area of my business is it touching? Because then you can also decide, am I just wasting my time? Am I spinning my wheels on things that are not serving me and serving my
Yes,
business? So, okay.
I agree.
Well,
And I think expanding on that, going into all the buckets, right? So what are you doing for yourself personally? What are you doing for
mhm.
your family and your friends? What are you doing for your business? What are you doing for yourself financially? What are you doing for your health? And making sure you're hitting all those 5 things, whatever those are, right? Those are my things, but whatever
Mhm.
those are, making sure you're hitting those on a daily basis and scheduling out
Mhm.
time for yourself to work out or meditate or have a cookie, whatever it is that matters. I mean, sometimes it's have a cookie and sometimes it's meditate. But I think measuring that stuff out and scheduling it. We're all about scheduling phone calls, we're all about scheduling meetings with customers, but we forget, schedule in a pedicure, schedule in
Mhm.
some time to have lunch with your husband. My husband's home and we do have lunch a couple times a week, but there are some times you have to schedule it and just have a little lunch together. So I
Yeah.
think we always schedule work and we fail to schedule stuff for personal time. And I think scheduling both is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that's a great segue though. And, for in terms of other best practices, especially during a pandemic, what are some things that you feel like really were a benefit to you during a time when maybe you were having different conversations rather than what new business do you have? It's how can we change the business that's already on the books? What are some things that you were dealing with in the last 2 years?
I mean, I think it's just all about getting your mind straight and trying all the tricks to get your mind straight, right? And remembering that I don't have control over any of this. The only thing
Mhm.
I can control is my mindset and my reaction to whatever's going to happen next.
Mhm.
And every day was a new day. So I tried all sorts of tricks, whether it was daily meditation, whether it was taking a bath, whether it was working out, whether it was writing in a gratitude journal, just everything to get my mind straight. Reaching out to people was really important to me during the pandemic because, as much as you're worried about your own life, everybody else has a story and everybody's going through something. And that actually helped me tap into being so much more empathetic and such a better business person. Because if I could really understand what was going on in the lives of my customers, I was such a better account manager. A little
Mhm.
story about that is, about a month ago, I had a client who had to cancel a meeting, and it was an understandable cancel due to the pandemic in Europe. And I was very focused on the numbers of it for them, right? What's your cancellation fee? How do we get you out of it? How do we move this? I was focused on the logistics piece. And he was too, but then he also said, you know what? We'll focus on that tomorrow. Today, I'm just sad. And that really
Yeah.
hit me because I was like, yes, this is a senior level executive at a huge company. And he was very focused on the money and logistics, but he's super bummed because he hasn't seen his salespeople in 2 years.
Yeah.
And this is a family for him. So this was the first time many salespeople were going to meet each other. And that really helped me regain my footing on empathy and remember that all customers are at different spots and we have to meet them exactly where they are and then build
Mhm.
from that and serve them the best we can from that spot, because we're in hospitality and we are all about service. That's our first thing. So I think one of my best practices during pandemic was mindset and practicing empathy and in working hard at empathy.
Yeah. I like how you said that though, meeting them where they are, because you know what, I've recently departed Southwest Airlines. When I was there though, we were dealing with a lot of travel managers who, you know, maybe they had just taken on this position because their friend was doing it and their friend got let go. I mean, you've really got to consider, what are they bringing to the table when you have a conversation with them? Are they in the right headspace? Because if
Mhm.
it's not the right time to have that serious discussion, maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's next week, be with them and let them feel their feelings, because this, you know, we're all people at the end of the day, right?
We're humans having a human moment, going through various experiences.
Yes, yes. Well, I have one other question that I want to ask you that has really stemmed from all of this Women Crush Wednesday that I've been doing, and now these lives with people. I think there's a great need for women to mentor other women. And a lot of times the younger women I speak to say, well, I need a mentor. I don't know where to find one. So do you have one, and where did you find them? Or maybe someone who inspires you, and how did you come across their information?
Yeah, it's so funny. I've always felt weird about asking somebody to be my mentor because I feel like you're putting an obligation on them they may not want. So
Hmm.
I have I have people that I secretly admire and they're my mentors whether I know them or not, right? I mean, I will say over the years, Margie Sitton, who used to be at the San Diego Tourism Authority, isn't there anymore. She just retired. She's
Hmm.
somebody I look up to from a personal and professional standpoint. Julie Dunkel, who works with HPN and runs Nick's Endurance Sports, I really look up and admire to her. And all of my girlfriends, I have the best group of gal pals back in Ohio, in San Diego. I belong to this group called Swirl, two different swirl groups called Smart Women I really like, where we talk once a month or once a quarter about one topic. And so I just seek out those opportunities where I can surround myself with people that do things that I don't know how to do, or that help me move my life forward. I help them move their life forward, or together our mindset is about moving the needle forward. I just
Hmm.
always, as much as possible, want to be around those types of people. So sometimes
Okay.
it's just a secret admirer that they don't know I have a woman crush on them. Other times it's a dedicated group like that. But I think
Hmm.
now more than ever, I'm really into lifting people up, not just women, but lifting people up. If somebody's going to go out, like you said, I asked you, how can I help? You're starting this thing and I'm like, I want to be in on it. How can I help you? Because I
Yeah.
know it's not easy. If people probably think, oh, she just turns on her camera. No, your captions underneath, you've sent me 4 emails, we've communicated several times. And if somebody's going to go out on a limb and dare themselves to do that, I want to help them do that because I know people will do that for me too. So
Yeah.
I think secret mentorship is great, and admiring people along the way is also great too.
I think that's a great takeaway for anyone, really. I mean, the word mentorship, I think, has a lot of a sort of a formality to it. And maybe that's why people have, like, you don't want to feel awkward in saying, will you be my mentor? But I think we get a lot of those same qualities in a relationship with people that we have, in a common circle, or even just in engaging with people in this way, where we're getting mentorship or a learning experience from it. So there's a lot of different ways that you can have those learning experiences.
Yeah, like you're accidentally mentoring me today on how to do a LinkedIn Live. Well, there we go. But it is the obligatory thing creeps me out a little bit, right? Asking
Yeah.
somebody to be the mentor. But I also think all relationships, especially in business, they don't have to be transactional. There can
Mhm.
be, I have a couple different people in my business sphere that I really like them. I like what they have to say. I like how they run their business. They're not even in hospitality, right? But I like to meet with them and talk with them. And when we exchange ideas, and I get ideas about the tech world, or I get ideas about the dental world, and they're getting ideas about the hospitality world, And it's just people that I like and they like me. So I think surrounding yourself with those types of people and seeking them out. If somebody says something that you like, form a relationship. You don't have to be best friends. You might talk once
Yeah.
or twice a year.
Mm-hmm,
But I
mm-hmm.
think seeking out people that are like minded like you and operate at that vibration as you do, it always helps you and the other
Yeah.
person move their lives forward.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're at 12:15, so I want to be mindful of our time here, but I wanted to give a shout out to Katie, Caroline, and Karen, who all gave us some comments on LinkedIn. Thank you for
Awesome.
watching. And there will be a recording of this available on LinkedIn. I will also save a copy of the recording on YouTube, so you'll be able to see it there. And all of those links are also in my link tree, which is on my LinkedIn profile. And then you've got our Instagram handles for me over here and for Mandi over there on her side. And one more plug for me. On Friday, I'm going to be doing another live stream with Libby Magliolo here on LinkedIn at noon. Any other plugs or anything else that you would like to share before we go, Mandi?
I mean, buy the book wherever you buy your books. Sales. It's funny, even if you're not in sales. And I'm doing a ton of speaking. So if you have an event that you need a speaker, reach out to me. I'll write one for you, or you can use one of my existing ones.
Awesome. Love it. And shout out to Tyler and Kyle. And you have everybody wants the shout outs. They're coming in now with the comments. I love it. I love it. I am so glad that we had so many folks watching. Greatly appreciate it. And thanks again. Have a great afternoon, everyone. And thank you, Mandi.
Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye.